I want to talk a little bit to Judith Alpucci about the sustainability and the need then for not just public sector government direction and investment, but also at a broader base, the participation of the private sector. Has this happened in Belize, and how do you see that happening regionally?
We have not really tapped into private sector, but I certainly think that on a whole, with this social program or any social program, it has to be a collective responsibility. I do believe, and we've articulated very well, the short-term, long-term, medium-term benefits of ECD, of early childhood development. And so I think because it is such a fundamental investment in your human capital, that government has to take on the primary responsibility, absolutely. It does not necessarily mean that government has to provide the services directly, but certainly to create the enabling environment or the frameworks or the encouragement for corporate social responsibility for public, for private sector entities to latch on to this. More and more in the region, we're seeing that those band-aid solutions, more police, more, don't work.
Absolutely.
And we have to invest in the long term. And we have to start from very early. So I think whereas, you know, crime and violence issues and all those social ills are an issue, and we have to deal with those head on, because as we say in Belize, while the grass to grow, the heart to starve. Still, I think the argument, it is a good time to make the argument about the soundness of the investment and to bring forth that data that shows that it is far more cost effective to do these kind of prevention and basic foundation work rather than to invest in rehabilitation services later on down the line. It's twice or three times as expensive. So it's a good time,
I'm going to be a little bit of a troublemaker here and kind of suggest that our experience of humanity shows that it's not everything that is good and wise that we seek to move towards. And that even where we have data and impact studies and a proven track record, sometimes things don't get done to further enhance sustainability, availability, transferability. Are you intending to develop some kind of a lobby pressure group, some kind of an interest-based group to ensure? Because I'll be very frank with you, you're all women. And despite the fact that we talk about the glass ceiling and the shift, it really has not shifted substantially enough for the issues that pertain to women and child development to take enough of a front page in our policy making processes. How will you address that?
Can I respond to that? Because I see that Susan is eager to respond to this. But I just want to say that child rearing is not only a female responsibility.
No, it isn't. You know? But the policy approach to it is what I'm talking about.
And
will they put the money?
Yes, you know, and as was well articulated from the very beginning in terms of the benefits that will accrue to society, one cannot say that government will have a responsibility to ensure.
So you think
that
the
that
findings will be respected?
Yes, I do think so. And in addition, I think communities can participate in the learning. You know what is exciting, as Susan and Utilia talked about, the methodology in terms of how the roving caregivers program takes place, in the sense that the community participates. We can begin to let community take charge of that education that is there. Some communities may have retired persons, and we can utilize their skills in terms of retired teachers. We can develop communities and build capacities so that even as the rovers will recede, that parents and other communities, leaders in the communities, can take charge of that. So sometimes government may always say that it's not only centralized, but we can devolve and allow communities to take responsibility of those programs.
Absolutely, but it's the government that makes the investment. I'm still punching that in.
I want to pick up on that point, because I do think that indeed the data stands. But indeed, I think that we do have to do a little bit of advocacy and mobilize communities, mobilize parents so that they can demand services for their children, to say that this work. They're voters.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And politicians listen to voters and make decisions on investment based on pressure from people. And so we really have to find ways to organize parents or to provide the space for them to speak about, you know, just the benefits from their perspective and so forth. And that's why I particularly like the communication aspect that CCSI brings to this whole equation.
We'll talk about that some more, and certainly this panel discussion on the Roving Caregivers Program is a part of that education process for our entire region. We look forward to sharing some of the inspiration and some of the future plans as we come back for our final segment in just a moment.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Got it? Taking care of us can be so easy.
Take good care of the children.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Got it? Taking care of us can be so easy.
Take good care of the children.
Welcome back. We're on our panel discussion on the Roving Caregivers Program. Really an absolutely inspiring transformational program conceptualized in Jamaica and has been transported throughout the Caribbean region, showing tremendous results in terms of development patterns at every possible level. And so, how will we really continue to engage the private sector in terms of support? And we've spoken about the need for public sector direction, for regional policy, and for community support.
Well, the private sector has been extremely receptive in Dominica. For example, the National Bank of Dominica has been partnering with the Christian Children's Fund, which is now Child Fund Caribbean, and has been really putting their money where their mouths are in terms of tangible financial and technical support to the program. We've also at a regional level brought together a think tank to really contemplate what will it take for the private sector to more meaningfully invest in programs like this. And it was really quite inspiring for us to hear their response to a social program like this, and the interest that they've expressed in supporting a regional program, I think certainly gives us a lot to work with. Based on the evidence that we have, we can go back to them now and say, you know, this works, and this is how you can contribute.
It is absolutely wonderful, isn't it?
Yes,
the simplicity of the product and the capacity for it to be integrated. And I know that you, Jennifer, you have a concept about how different groupings may interrelate.
And the question as to whether and why we need to continue this in perpetuity, I think through some kind of regional foundation or a fund in which all the partners can participate. Because sometimes the question is asked, who are the beneficiaries? Well, the beneficiaries, are they the parents who benefit? Are they the rovers who are youth and young people who will become parents themselves? Are they the children that we're providing that stable, joyful strength in self-esteem for? Are they the communities? Are they the nation states of this region, or are they the entire region if we have a single space? And that is a question that we need to begin to ask. Why do we need to invest in a program such as this?
Good point.
And you have the answers. You have the data.
That's right.
And so, moving on from here, this program we hope will provide more stimulation, more answers, and hopefully a few questions so that people will want to call the Caribbean Child Support Initiative or the Roving Caregivers Program or CARICOM or CARICAD to find out more about what the different regional approaches may want to be. And so it is, you see, that we as a region are not just saying Jamaica to the world, we are saying the Caribbean to the world. Coming from a little township in Jamaica called Clarendon, the wonderful work of an early childhood development expert called Joyce Jarrett began. And now we see the fruits being borne across the region, Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and as far away as Belize